8-Bit Bros program. You can check them out here on Ironic Radio Network. 8-Bit Bros. That's number 8. 10-bit. Bros, one word. I strongly encourage you to stay tuned for that. And if you want, they also have a Facebook page and a much better live show. Anyway, 8-Bit Bros, 8 p.m. Ironic Radio Network.
It's 8 o'clock, and you know what that means.
Oh, what's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Bros. It is the early edition. That is the Tuesday show, people, for those that are a bit slow. We have a great show planned for you this evening, so sit back, grab a beer, and you know what? Do the right thing, people. Put your kids in the closet.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything
What are you, crazy?
that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
8-Bit Bros. Tuesday, like Ren said, early edition. Directory assistance, 411. That's the episode we're at. 411. 420's coming up soon. Center box gets a square.
What up, people?
Yeah, over here, left, me, web boy. To the right, 846 miles south, the one and only Thumping Loud. Ooh, I'm sure we'll be right back there momentarily. And in the top box, center box, top box, whatever you want to call it. J7 in the house.
Hello.
Or shall I have said in the hizane? Does that work better? Be put. I'm trying to make sure I'm understood by multinational, multilingual places now. Yeah, that's
Don't you do that?
I'm trying hard not to, but I can't help myself. First things first, something we used to cover quite frequently and have slacked off a little bit over the years. Baseball Hall of Fame today, finals were announced. Nobody made the Hall of Fame.
Woo!
Nobody?
Nobody in baseball made the Hall of Fame. Zero. Nobody.
That's got to
Damn.
be a first.
It's not a first. It's happened before. I want to say it's like 2013 or 1980 or something like that. And you can open up Google and just be about Hall of Fame. ESPN had all the info out there. Hall of Fame 2021. It's not, no one elected to Hall of Fame. When does it say? First time since 1960. First time since 1960. Membership of the National Hall of Fame will remain frozen. I mean, not for anything. It's a pretty good reason. There's really nobody on the ballot.
No first time Hall of Famers?
No
Or
first.
first time ballots?
No. Kurt Schilling, highest votes, 285, 71%. Probably what stopped him from getting in the Hall of Fame was his Twitter feed.
Yo.
Because, he's a fucking idiot and a QAnon spreader or whatever you call him. Barry Bonds, 248 votes, 61.8. Roger Clemens, 247 votes, 61.6. My prediction next year, Scott Rowland gets in. A couple of guys on the ballot this year, first-time balloters, will never be back. Got to get 5% of the votes to stay on the ballot.
Damn.
The life of me, I don't even understand why Nick Swisher was on the ballot.
Because he retired, and he was a Yankee. There's your reason.
Ta-da.
I don't know if it's...
He was a Yankee on a World Series team.
I get that.
Well, then that should have been automatic, right? Just kidding. But
is the fucking ballot? I don't have it in front of me, damn it. A couple other guys too. The first-time balloters who will not be back. Oh, no. I don't know how I got to fucking that, but okay. There it is, right there. Bam, that's what I was looking for. In the separate. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, very strange to see nobody. I don't ever remember it happening in my life, so obviously it didn't. But
Would that be the strangest thing to happen in 2020? Technically, it's for 2020, right?
right, it would be for 2020, the last day of
So
balloting.
there you go.
Right, so that would be the last weird thing of 2020. Yeah,
Right.
you're
I
absolutely.
feel like my favorite 2020 meme is well played, December 44th, 2020.
Here, are you ready, Ren, for some of these names? Mark Burrell, AJ Burnett,
Mark Burley.
Mark Burley. Excuse me, AJ Burnett, Michael
Yankee. So far, you're all on that World Series Yankee team. Keep going.
Michael Cudier. I don't know who that
Kadire. Michael Kadire.
is. Oh yeah, Cudier, right. Dan Harron, LaTroy Hawkins, Tim Hudson, Torrey Hunter, Armis Ramirez, Nick Swisher, Shane Vintorino, and Barry Zito, all first-year balloters, and as far as I know, will never be back on the ballot again. Fucked up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, you got to have 5%, which equates to, I don't know, 21 votes, I believe it is. I believe it's 21 or something like that. Yeah.
Well, hey, baseball did themselves a favor because now they won't lose money
Mm-hmm.
at Hall of Fame weekend.
True.
Because the Hall of Fame's not even open because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's going to open again and then close again, then open again and then close again.
Yeah.
So they did themselves a favor and saved people of the country. They gave America more than $1.64 a day. Think about that.
Are you ready for the 100-day challenge?
What is the 100-day challenge?
Oh, is it the mask thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh.
And being suggested that if you're not wearing an N95, that double masking is recommended.
yes, double masking or at least double layer. If you can't buy double layer, then you should wear 2 masks.
Right.
You should
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
Y'all remember a couple weeks ago I said, just wait for it. Nobody's saying anything. And you're all like, no. Look, CNN and CBS, they all say everything's Gucci. You still haven't even heard about the 4 variants that are out there that are not Gucci.
Well,
Because they don't
and the
wanna
fact that,
incite
and that
fear.
California has its own.
Yeah, no, we've heard about that, Ren. We've also heard that some of the drugs that are out there have been clinically tested against them already, and so far the placebos look good. We had Moderna come out and say, yeah, this new variant of B1117, not B11115 or whatever the fuck it is. That one we're not so sure about, so we've isolated that shit and we threw
And
it
we'll
up.
give you a third dose
And,
of
yeah,
the vaccine.
so here's what I've been saying, and I've been saying this all along. You're going to live with COVID for the rest of your life, just like influenza. Okay? Next year, there'll be a booster shot. You go get your flu shot. Make sure you get your COVID shot, too. You're going to have to deal with this forever.
That's after you get the 5 original shots.
Fuck that shit. I ain't getting no shot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe. I hope not. There are places in the world that are seeing pretty much 0 infection rate. Like
Liars.
Yeah, I think
all
the countries that
liars.
you're seeing it out of.
Dubai came out.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Dubai
if you
came
look
out
at
and
the
said,
country's
"We beat
reputation-
this." Dubai came out and said, "We beat this. We don't have anything to worry about." And 60% of their country has COVID right now.
Yeah.
what about New Zealand?
Oh, New Zealand, Iceland, and fucking the other one. Who cares about those countries? They're isolated to begin with.
But people live there.
Oh yeah,
Like,
100.
Yeah, but they did the right thing in the first place, and they shut down their borders in March and haven't reopened them.
Yeah, I was gonna
Great.
say they just
The
decided
only
to
people that are
close
there
down.
are the people in the country, and
well,
they're
there
not
you
importing
go.
anything.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not impossible. We just have to
Yeah, but
not be idiots.
At the moment that it was
It's
proposed, we
impossible
were
in America.
declared nationalist and said that that was fucking dumb shit to do.
Yeah.
The
Right,
minute it
and
was
you live
proposed,
in America
it was
where
considered a bad idea.
Iceland
right, and
had,
you live in America where the first thing that they come out and say is, "Oh, the biggest spreader of the coronavirus is you and your family."
right. Look, Iceland had 5,992 cases, 29 deaths. There's 6,000 people who live in that fucking country, no bigger than Rhode Island.
Well, I'm not talking about Iceland. I'm talking about New Zealand.
Okay, New Zealand. Where's that? Right next to Greenland?
No, it's. I guess I can just go look it up in a map
I
and
am-
see what the population of New Zealand is.
Yeah, I am looking up, and I don't even see fucking New Zealand being highlighted on this
It's a
fucking
tiny
map.
little island.
New Zealand.
Yeah,
It is.
In comparison to its neighbor.
Who's its neighbor? That would help me greatly. Is that little dot right there, out there in the ocean?
Next to
Iceland?
It's got 5,001,010. Pretty
right
much
next
50.
to Australia.
Oh,
Yes, they're near Australia. So
And
they
they're
have
about Japan size.
okay.
5.2 million people as of January 2021.
All right. And the 2,290 cases in one town, 25 people dead.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, you couldn't get there after you can't get there. Closed.
Yeah, and Australia's
Same
provinces
thing.
are going through a different. Yeah, they had an explosion there recently of COVID, so they've started shutting down borders again. But
Right.
theirs is only in like certain areas.
Yeah, Melbourne
Yeah.
being the biggest, or Victoria to be correct. Sydney's not so bad. Melbourne seems to be their hotspot issues.
Yeah, New South Wales was one that they experienced a little bit, or saw Victoria going through what it went through, and they shut down just to keep it out.
You know, I mean, if that's the case, oh, look what a great job Samoa did. They've only had 2 people infected.
Yeah.
But I mean, who the fuck goes there? B, can you even get there? I mean, that's a little tiny island in the middle of nowhere. You know, I mean,
Well, okay. I'm not talking about edge cases where there's no one there. I'm talking about like, let's see. Well,
Okay.
New Zealand's a good example because they don't really have a high number of cases, and also let's see.
that's the case. Then
North Korea.
No,
Apparently?
you can't. Remember, reputation matters when you look at these countries as well, and you know that the information
Yeah,
that
no,
you're
that's
getting
true,
from the
that's true,
country
that's true.
is not possibly entirely accurate.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's like I'm giving you a benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I know you're not trustworthy.
right?
Like, I'll let you submit numbers to me, and I'll post them up because these are what you said. But everybody knows that you're a habitual liar.
Habitually.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Russia. Oh, we are doing very well with no cases. Oh, really? Okay, you say so.
Okay, so
I mean, Israel's.
I
having
don't
a
know.
problem
The
right now.
Western Pacific generally has the lowest number of confirmed cases, which is let's see, which countries?
Well, there's an argument to be made for the summer season as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can't really use Australia. You can't use New Zealand A because you can go less than 100 miles to their west, which is Australia,
Uh-huh.
where COVID has exploded time and time and time again.
Yeah,
The only
I mean, you
reason why New
can.
Zealand is no, you can't. The only reason why New Zealand is the way it is it
Mhm.
shut its borders down and told all its people, you can have what we can grow and what we can produce. We're not importing, and no one's coming here.
Okay.
Get used to the new
Turkey-
normal. That's that. And you can't believe any of these other countries like China. You can't believe
What about Turkey?
North Korea. They're all communist
and
countries.
Fiji. What about British Virginia? What about
Turkey,
British
Greenland?
Virginia.
I was like,
What
Turkey's
are-
heavily influenced
Wait,
by Russia at the moment.
British. So I didn't mean British Virginia. My bad. I meant British.
I mean, there's a lot of places you can call out. I mean, there's a lot of French fucking provinces. It's like, oh, only 2 cases. Well, yeah, because it's fucking Somalia. Or the French, the French Polynesian island was devastated. How many people live in the French Polynesian island? Way the fuck out there in between America and Australia. I don't know. They had 17,000 cases, though, on that little itty bitty island.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I mean, there are a lot of places.
And then you turn around and go,
Monaco, like
Turks and Caicos
Vietnam, like
Turks and Caicos did a
Syria,
good job. I mean, they only had 5 people die and only 141 infections, but it's Turks and Caicos. Who goes there? Oh, wait, people
lots of people go there
on a cruise ship.
on vacation.
On a cruise ship.
No, you can actually fly there and
Yes, you
stay
can.
in resorts.
Turks and Caicos is a huge vacation destination for Great Britain, Spain, Portugal, France.
But you couldn't get there once the pandemic hit. That was it. Down, closed.
So I guess the lesson here is we're a bunch of idiots and we should have just done what they did.
Isn't that what 8-Bit Bros said in fucking February? That's exactly what we all said. In
No, that's what you were like, whatever, it's the flu. That's not what you were saying.
Gentlemen, did I not say that the way to solve this entire fucking thing in this country was to A, shut the borders down, B, let nobody travel, stay the fuck locked in for 60 days, and we wouldn't have a virus?
No, that's the opposite of what you said.
No, it's not. It's
Yes,
absolutely not. It's absolutely not, and you're just playing devil's advocate. I love you for it, but you're just playing devil's advocate now. You pulled my role.
No,
I mean,
he did.
He did what?
What he said,
Did
we
say
should
that.
close the borders and stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
In
Yeah,
February?
he was an
Yeah,
advocate for that right off
in
the
April.
beginning.
Damn, you changed your tune a lot.
Oh, I've changed my tune over time. If
Because
nobody,
He
in
changed his tune because nobody did anything and it just became
Yeah.
bullshit. And why not just have fucking random ass fucking opinions during a bunch of people having random ass fucking opinions?
fine, now I'm at
and
the
then in like May, it was like whatever. I'm going to a concert.
Yes,
Yeah, because
absolutely.
he went from, oh, you don't care, so therefore I'm not going to care. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no pandemic.
That's right. There's
It's
no,
a pandemic, as he would call it during the
It's
summer.
a pandemic. The
That's
hope.
right. the only thing this fucking pandemic did for me was fuck up my partying ideas. That kind of sucked because I haven't changed now at all. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. I don't care.
It changed your partying ideas? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean?
I couldn't party because everything got closed down.
Oh, yeah, like you can't really go anywhere.
And then,
You know?
then,
I mean, you can, but you can't.
then I got thrown out of a place because it was closing. That was it. It was the last night you drink. Got to close at 8 o'clock. Get out. Wow, fuck that. Who wants to pay attention? What are they going to do? Drive around? Make sure you closed? Not going to do that on the first night. Stay open. Let's party. Close the doors. It's a whole nother bar in the basement. Let's go hang out there.
I don't know. I was in a
Speakeasies
restaurant.
did return.
Yeah, I feel like the whole clubbing scene kind of went underground. Like, if you want to go clubbing, you kind of just need to get invited.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just
There was an article in Monday's paper. Dating myself right there. In Monday's Internet News. Of
right
a
internet
underground rave club in Manhattan that got raided and shut down, and 580 people cited for being at a rave.
Yeah,
Woo.
that does not shock me. Like, it literally, like, I got plenty of invitations, and I was like,
And that was the only 580 that they caught.
right.
So times that by 3, times that by 4, and you probably have your number of people that were at that event.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been to parties that there were like 5,000 people at inside of a building. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and there, like, I've walked by, like, I've started doing very long walks just because I have no choice, you know? And I've walked by places where I'm like, There's some very loud music coming from this building. Sounds like people are having a good time in there. What? COVID?
Yeah, COVID.
What?
Oh, there's only 5 people in there, and they're socially distancing.
So here, there's two sides. There's two sides of the coin.
Hey,
to
it's
this.
okay. I'm wearing
So
masks. What do I need to social distance?
that's what I'm saying. Like, so you have two sides
They're
of the coin.
like
You have side
sweaty and
A.
wearing their paper mask. I'm like, dude.
You have side A of we're America and we have a lot of macho bravado and we don't give a fuck and we're gonna do what we want. And then you have side B, because we're America and we have a lot of macho bravado and we do whatever the fuck we want, which is why we haven't beat this pandemic yet, because all these 5,000, 10,000 people that happen to go to the 100 parties in Manhattan on a Friday and Saturday night. So times that by 200 parties of 5,000 people, then go home to their families contract it, their families go places. Now I'm just talking about New York in general. I'm not even talking about Houston and Dallas and Chicago and San Francisco and LA and Provo, Utah,
And Austin.
where all the same shit is happening.
Yeah.
And we wonder why we're not beating a pandemic.
Right. No, you're totally right about that. We just don't act right. Like, really, we don't. We don't. It's really annoying. And, like, you kind of, I've experienced this. I mean, you start feeling like a stick in the mud, you know? Like, there's some peer pressure there where you're like, I don't mind having this convo with you, but, like, do you mind taking 2 steps back? You know? But, like,
That's personal preference. Like, there's certain people. Like, I've kind of come around to like the whole web point of view. Like, you have your people that you should be able to trust to go and say hello to.
right, yeah.
Like, you have like a certain. You have to have a certain level of trust someplace.
That's right,
Yes.
especially in your own circle.
Yeah, but I mean,
Gotta
it's
trust your-
always going to be different for me, no matter how you shake it. It's always going to be different for me.
And also, just to be frank here, like your circle, right?
Mhm.
It depends on who these people are. Like, we're all human, right? Like, is your circle really being that careful? All you have is their word that they're being super careful.
Well, that's the whole
Right.
point, though. Like, you're in. It's kind of like watching an episode of Survivor. So, your circle is an episode of Survivor. If
Mhm.
somebody does something to compromise the circle, you're voted off, and anybody associated with you is voted out of the circle.
I thoroughly trust my circle, the people in my circle, to know that they're doing the right things. Case in point, we lambasted Ren hugely for getting in a fucking car and traveling through, I don't know, 11 fucking states,
Well,
And going
you-
to Florida. Oh my
stopping
god.
along the way, going to Florida in the middle of a fucking hotspot pandemic. We lambasted the shit out of him, much like the way you guys lambasted the shit out of me for going out here and going out there and doing that. Now, yes, I was one of those who lambasted fucking Ren too and said, you're a fucking idiot. But he took every precaution in the world like I expected he would have. And he came back COVID free and COVID clean. Ren is in my circle. He's part of my circle. Whether I see him or not, he's still part of my fucking circle. Okay.
Right,
he
but he got
had-
kicked off temporarily.
Okay. But no, well, not really. But I
well,
mean, you
he
know,
bowed out
he-
temporarily.
yeah, he bowed out of the circle, which is fine. I get
For
it.
my own reasons.
Okay, and one of his
Which
Okay,
don't
you
understand.
kicked yourself off
Yeah,
the
but-
circle.
but one of
All
his
right,
main-
semantics here.
one of his
Does
main-
someone want to fill in a blank here for me, so
Yeah.
I don't have to like say it out loud?
May I? Thank you. One of his
Go
major
ahead.
reasons also was because he lives with a frontline worker. And
I
he-
knew that.
Okay, can't control.
Still.
So why should he? Okay, my people in my circle, I trust them completely. My next door neighbor, who I'm with quite frequently, I know he's not going to do anything stupid. He's got a 91-year-old fucking mother
Well,
who's COPD and on
hold
oxygen.
on. Let me pull myself into this because what I wouldn't have been around Webb either because of the high contamination possibilities of where I work.
Right.
Because my job wasn't capable of any social distancing. Now, masks were a thing. Like everybody, and not for anything, COVID still hit our company. I'm sure nationally, just like it's hit hospitals.
Sure.
You know, where it makes the rounds. Those that can beat it, beat it. Those that don't hate the fact that they can't smell anymore, or worse. But
That's putting it mildly, I think.
well, I mean, I would
Yeah.
consider 9 days without my smell and being able to have it back. It was a blessing. So I think that like major blessing. I know people who've gone longer, and I've heard of people who still haven't recovered it. So
Wow.
that is like the minimum of like COVID inconvenience. That's
Yeah,
the minimum,
absolutely.
and much worse. Like, but there's no need to scale for that. Like, I did cite it as just like that's the minimum of it. You know, some people just
Right.
happy to get their smell back, and then other people who just much worse. But it makes it makes its rounds, and I wouldn't have exposed anybody outside my group on that level.
But your group at that point is you and your girl.
Right. Well, and she's a
She's a
tester.
frontline
Yeah,
worker
she's
too.
a tester at CVS and now a vaccine giver.
So what did she do? Did you, I mean, obviously you like quarantined somehow, right? Like, did she leave? Like, did
What do you
she?
mean? She goes to work. I go to work. We take the chance with each other. It was something that we just kind of invested in. Lots of hand sanitizer, lots of, just surface cleaning and stuff like that. But what more could we do? Are we supposed to we live together? Are we supposed to just separate?
Well,
Or
if
we
you
were
had
supposed to
it,
let COVID just stop?
well, yeah, if you have it, then you're supposed to be quarantining.
Yeah, 7 to 10 days.
Yep. I was on
And
holiday.
did you? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, he quarantined. He was over, got it during whatever, and was on a holiday.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Ren quarantined because he works from home.
Yeah, I mean, I literally.
Everybody
I
works.
had a very long conversation with my company before I went on this trip. I talked to my chief operation officer. I talked to my CEO, who I have previous experience with. I'm like, look, this is what we're doing. Like, this is the reality of the situation. My COO's like, 2 weeks before you're going, I'm going down to Hatteras, South Carolina. Or Outer Banks, South Carolina. He's like, that's what I'm doing, and I'm coming home. We're working from home. What difference does it make?
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
true.
like you're coming into an office. It's not like you're going anywhere. Just be mindful of going to the grocery store, going to the convenience store, going to get gas. Don't go to the gym. Don't be an asshole. If you're running outside, avoid people. Like, do the right thing. Which is exactly what we did the entire time.
Sanitary wipes and hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Every inch
Don't lick
of what your
doorknobs.
day, yeah, every inch of what your day is. And so for me and her to be in the same house, I mean, typically I'm in my office and she's in the living room. It's not like we sit and just like on the couch together, nuzzled up, talking to each other the whole night, face to face. That's not a thing in our household. Like, we have different shit that we do. She is always into her Netflix. Like, currently she'd been reading a book and watching some anime. I'm online talking to a bunch of other dickheads like myself and running around playing video games with them. Like, that's like, so our socialing, is pretty much like, hey babe, I'm on my way to work. Hey babe, I'm just getting back from work. With me working third and her working days, so
What is your guys' actual interaction? 4 hours?
Something like that. We have dinner together, and
That's it?
Well, she works days, so she works like 8 to 5, 9 to 5.
yeah, she works
He's
a 40-hour
sleeping.
a week. I'm sleep, and then when she gets home, I'm up, and I'm up until I go to work. And
when he gets home from work, she's sleeping.
Yeah, at 3 in the morning, she's asleep, and then when she's getting ready to go to work, I'm laying down or already asleep.
Mm.
Wow.
It's kind of like, shit that goes on here. Like, I'll be watching.
And my life could very, very much be that way. I mean, I got a lady who's taking a nursing board, and the odds-on chance of her first nursing job could very well be a night shift. Not
Yep.
saying she would take a night shift, but if that's
No, the
what was
possibility
offered
is
to
there.
her and
Might have no choice.
possibility is there,
Well,
we would be living.
that same type of
She's
schedule.
leaving for work, and we would literally have between 5 or 4 and 7 p.m. and maybe 2 hours in the morning when I'm waking up and she's getting home from work before she goes to sleep. So it would be like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, and there you go. There's 10 hours sleep on either side.
I see. Well, I'm just, it's just interesting to me that, like, I think what's supposed to happen with a bunch of, what is it? Is it Australia? Was it Australia or New Zealand? Some country with a very low count.
Was not Australia.
No.
Yeah, maybe it was New Zealand. I don't remember exactly right now, but their rule was that if you had arrived in the country, you had to quarantine 10 days, and that didn't mean go home. That meant you had to go and stay in a hotel by yourself.
Right.
For 10 days.
Honestly,
Regardless of whether you had a partner or kids, whatever, it didn't matter because being at home is not really quarantining because your family's there. That was kind of my point. Yeah.
that's asinine.
Yeah, but when it's two people, our interaction is so limited on that level that it was kind of a when it came through, it was so deep into. I mean, we're talking December. So when it came through, we were so deep into the pandemic that all our rules were laxed to a point anyway. We were just kind of like we were over it to a degree. I practice. I always wear mask at work, and she always wears a mask at work, and we always sanitize, and we always do all the stuff, and then it happens, and then you're like, oh. Fortunately, it rolled through here. Neighbors got it currently.
Damn.
So.
People around the block got it right now. The who's got it in the house? 2 out of the 4, mother and daughter.
There's only 2 people there, so the 2 of them got it. They both tested positive Monday, I think, is what they had said. Last Monday, not this Monday.
I got friends right around the block here. My friend's boss. 4 people in the house. Husband's got the COVID. Kids got the COVID. Mom don't got
the whole family. Damn.
Mom doesn't have the COVID. The other kid doesn't have the COVID. The 2 who don't are living normal lives upstairs. The 2 who have it are fucking quarantining in the basement.
Yep.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense actually. If you have enough space to make that work.
But it's still the routine doesn't change though in that household that it's still wipe everything down,
Yeah.
Those kids, if they have to come out of there at all, I'm sure it's masked up.
Yeah, but you're still walking through the house to the second floor to get to the bathroom and take a shower.
Are they?
What are you going to do? Quarantine 10 days in the basement without washing the crack of your ass?
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a bathroom in the basement.
You never defined whether or not that this was a fully outfitted basement.
No. It's a
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking there was a bathroom in the basement.
Oh, sure,
and that's why you'd be quarantining there. Because if you're leaving, you're not quarantining.
I mean,
like
sure,
that's really,
I have a full basement too, but that doesn't mean there's a shower in it.
But I'm just saying, if you're leaving the space in which you're supposed to be quarantining, that's not an actual quarantine.
I mean, you might have to take 10 days of hoe bath, bro. Just saying.
What? Don't we call that Puerto Rican shower where I come from, bro?
Yeah, see? I'd rather
Why you gotta
I'd rather
be
be
racist?
sexist than racist.
Yeah, and a hoe could be a man or a woman, so hoe is acceptable.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. So I'm non-binary with my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
My real expertise is mental health and eating disorders, sends the fat guy in a dress in charge of your freedom.
There you go.
What?
Well, I figured you want me to keep it, sexist or whatnot. But anyway, you'll get that in a day or two when you realize the person I'm talking about. But anybody see the meme of Bernie Sanders in a tub with Prince? Dick,
Ooh,
if you will.
Batman.
My
Mm.
favorite
Dean
one is Momoa
and
putting out
Bernie.
that fucking chair and it being the chair with Bernie in
Oh.
it. That's my
Yeah,
favorite one.
that was pretty funny. I kind of like the Joe Biden one that I put out there. Hey, it was supposed to be my day, and I have mittens too. But what I saw today might take the cake. I saw a BLM.
I love how he's like looking out the window and he's like, I have mittens too.
It was supposed to be my day. I have mittens too, you know, guys. It's great. It's great fucking meme. Absolutely great. Best one I saw today was a BLM sticker.
LaPointe is officially a sailor's dad right there in Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah. So the BLM sticker I saw today says
Congratulations.
BLM Biden loves minors. Hashtag not my pedophile.
No.
Oh, that's gross.
Oh.
I thought it was
That's-
cute.
That's
I want to see
gross.
if I can order one and stick it on the Subi.
Nasty. Nasty.
Well, he's a fucking kid toucher. Care what anybody says.
Whatever.
We've seen thousands of videos of it right off the fucking Senate floor. And not videos produced by anybody, but recorded straight off of C-SPAN.
Yes.
He's a pedophile.
That is gross.
But then, yet, isn't that what QAnon was like preaching, that the Democratic Party is a bunch of fucking closet pedophiles anyway?
Well, not closet.
Oh,
Not closet pedophiles.
excuse me.
Apparently, there's
satanic pedophiles. Let me get that
there are
right.
satanic
That's-
pedophiles that are running an underground
Yes.
ring of
Pizzagate.
child trafficking.
Right, Pizzagate.
And Donald Trump was on a crusade. to
He's the
stop-
savior.
Yeah, he was a savior. and he
Savior.
got-
That's right. Savior of Pizzagate.
Yeah, Pizzagate was the whole thing where this guy somehow became convinced that there was this pizza shop in Philly
Yes.
that they were keeping kids in the basement,
Yeah.
and that when people called in and ordered pizzas, like the pizzas were code names for
Yes.
kinds of kids. Like
Right.
pepperoni was like a redhead,
Hey,
or something
big-
like that.
Pick them out yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he decided, he somehow decided that he had done sufficient research and he knew what was going on and he was going to go save the children. And he stormed this place with guns, and it
Yep.
turned out the basement wasn't there. The basement was a closet.
2016. 2016. You gotta love fucking
Yeah.
that are crazy.
I mean, damn. And then, you know what? What I found really interesting about this is really,
Comet Ping Pong,
it's
was-
really,
name of the pizzeria.
it's just that, how do I put it? It's the way in which you can become convinced of something and
Sure.
believe it to be so true. Because
All right,
If
the
you
election
look
was
at-
rigged.
if you look at the guy that did this, he didn't have a history of mental illness. If people who say things about him are like, well, he was religious, he was a devoted dad, he was a member of our community. Like, there was nothing unusual about this person.
No,
on
just
the
shit,
surface.
shit happens that all of a sudden
Yeah.
something hits that
He fell in-
curiosity that you're
fell
willing
into-
to devote total attention to it.
He read into the Podesta emails and shit that was never even there. The WikiLeaks leak of the Podesta emails.
Right, but that's still, it's something that hits that mental nerve that just goes,
Mhm.
oh, I see what's happening here.
Yeah. And then, of course, when he was arrested and they asked him, why'd you do this? He was like, oh, I got some bad intel.
not,
Like-
not for anything like faith
What?
faith in an idea. Like I still to this day think that that's the worst thing that was ever created was faith, the word itself, because it's to believe without question.
Crutch for the weak.
To have that level of like you said, to believe in something so much, no
Mhm.
matter what.
Yeah.
And you look at religion as a case that where there's a lot of good in religion. I'm not trying to down anybody's religions at all. I believe that even the most devout of most of the religions, they all believe a certain creed of like goodness and kindness
Right.
towards people. but they get a little different when they get out there into the heaviest of beliefs. Like to believe, and you see it, and you're like, "Wow, I don't know, man, that's a little weird."
Yeah.
That's like, I believe in God just like the next guy, but what are you doing?
And
Yeah.
Pizzagate was real because, in 2020, Justin Bieber sang about it. Yummy.
And Webb is just a walking conspiracy spew factory.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about it, I'm going to come up with all the facts since I pretty much fucking know them. I mean,
Wait, the alternative facts?
The alternative fact.
Oh no, that's what the guy from fucking when he did his whole documentary that QAnon picked up and became a way of fucking life. What was the name of his documentary? Out on the Inside or some shit like that. I mean, it started with Alex Jones and the InfoWars, and then
L. Ron Hubbard was a person, and Scientology is a religion. I don't need to go any further into the fact of how somebody can
is a cult.
Bullshit their way into some tremendously spectacular shit.
Out of shadows. That's what it was. Out of the shadows from a
Have you guys?
Stuntman. It's on YouTube. You can watch it if they haven't pulled it down.
Have you guys heard that whole thing? I mean, there have been so many documentaries now. There's at least 2 plus a podcast, like what is it, Nexium?
Oh yeah,
yes, the sex cult.
The sex cult.
Thump knows everything about that. He researched it thoroughly. He was the one who brought
no,
it
up. I didn't. That was not me. That was Webb. Everything I know, I learned from Webb.
You brought it up on the show that time, not me.
No. You brought up Nexium. I agreed that I had a little knowledge of them, but that was a group that you were talking about. I was like, oh yeah, I heard about them too, and their shit was real wild. Like their story was being exposed all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
All of them are interesting, but they're all like it's either I don't know what. It's weird to read the IRS interpretation of what it means to be a religious entity.
Yes, it is interesting, isn't it?
Because Scientology showed us a modern transference of how to become an official.
Yes.
Like religion.
Which is harass the IRS.
Well, we understand that they harassed the IRS because the IRS started to question their credibility on how much good they were doing in society. Like,
right.
Like that was that became the question.
Yes.
But I was like, oh wow, so the IRS interpretation of what it takes to be a religion actually weighs on humanitarian aid.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
It's about the community. Like the IRS is their rules for being considered a religious organization.
Yes,
is,
a non-profit religious
religious organization. It means that whatever money you take in, you can't just hoard it, right? You have to reinvest it in the community.
Yes,
somehow.
You have to allocate the funding back into the community as a whole.
As a whole, right.
Yes.
And they were not convinced that Scientology was doing that because they weren't. So
well, they were buying a bunch of buildings, but
they started buying a bunch of buildings. Yeah,
built churches and
the trade-off was the fact that all these buildings are still sitting empty everywhere.
They're just empty, but they're like fully furnished and like gorgeous.
Yeah, they're immaculate
and like crazy. So I don't know if everybody knows about this, but the way that Scientology was able to like officially declare itself a religion in the eyes of the IRS was they basically got all their members to start suing the IRS en masse.
Yeah.
And then they would send them crazy letters, and then they would do like stings, like they would find out whenever the IRS was having an event, and then they would see what IRS employees were doing, and then like if an IRS employee like bought a drink and expensed it or something, they'd be like, oh, look at the IRS using your tax money to buy itself a bunch of alcohol, like weird stuff like that. And this was happening like all over, right? And eventually the IRS, like think about it, the IRS, they're just a bunch of accountants, right? Like they
Technically, that is that is
like
their
they're
job.
not equipped to deal with this. So
Mm,
eventually they relented. They were like, what can we do to make this nonsense stop?
Yeah,
And
they were
yeah,
pressured into granting this kind of amnesty
yeah,
to a big bully based on what they deny is truth and da 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 da.
yeah,
Because they had filed and gotten it, like they were okay with it, but there were some violations or something that the IRS went to pull it and was like, we
yeah,
don't necessarily agree with this, and then they were like, oh no, you won't,
right.
and they were targeting individual members inside the IRS.
Yeah,
Scientology was being sued by the IRS for fucking tax evasion.
right.
That's
Because
what.
they were.
Yeah,
Because
because
they
that's
were
what it
evading
was.
taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they started a campaign against the IRS, and they came up with a settlement deal. You got to pay us the fucking tax evasion money you owe us here. It's $12.5 million. Pay it up. You've shown every documentation else that proves your religion, so you pay this up, and you'll get your tax exempt status.
Right.
And that's how they became a religion in 1983, 93, 93.
93.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is
93.
crazy. Like when you look at the roots of that, there's
1950.
nothing religious about that. That was a negotiation, right?
Nothing religious about this group to begin with. Even to this day,
If
people,
Amway could figure out a way to get
the leader,
get exemption, they would have done it.
a leader of the fucking group was a sci-fi novelist.
Yeah, but this is also a giant pyramid scheme. Like, let's not
Yeah.
It is.
take away from the business aspect of what Scientology is. It's a giant pyramid scheme that
It is.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge pyramid scheme.
built
I mean,
off
just,
of these Dianetics books, and then
yeah,
all
I mean,
the
they extort
platforms and
their own members.
leveling and
They extort their own members. Oh, you want to get up that?
how to get
ladder?
clear. That's
Of
another
course.
one. To
Yo,
watch
it's a
that.
cult.
Watch
No joke.
that. Watch Get Clear.
Yeah.
Getting
Clear? Yeah. Yep.
Oh
Absolutely.
my God, getting clear is brilliant. I watched it, and then I was so fascinated that I went and read the book that it's based on,
Ah.
written by Lawrence Wright,
Yep.
where he spends like the first half of the book just taking you through L. Ron Hubbard's life
Yeah.
so that you can understand where the craziness came from.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can understand
Yeah.
why it exists to a degree.
Yeah, and like his life was just like he was nuts. He was like he had some sort of bipolar situation going on where like he he was in this like he was in the Navy, but he ended up getting discharged. Like he wasn't there for long, right? Like he was there for a little bit and then he apparently did something to get himself kicked off. And like if you ask a Scientologist about it, or if you read any of the Scientology like literature on it, he's like a war hero, and he cured himself of all these diseases. And
No,
it's like,
no, the aliens helped that.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
let's get it right. I mean, I read the Scientology books. I read Dianetics, and I read the second one too.
you read Dianetics?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh wow.
1980
It's
something.
actually
Well, Dianetics doesn't mention aliens though, does it? Isn't it like a self-help book?
Yeah, it's a self-help book. But
Okay.
you're-
there is
Yeah,
there is
the end.
something to be said for no matter who you are on this planet, no matter who you are. If there is something that calls itself a religion, you should read their book.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
for every person on this planet, there is value in getting access to one that you can read and read every religious text there is on the planet.
You'd be very busy.
It doesn't really take as much as you'd think to over a lifetime to kind of just get all of the framework.
I mean, you mean like the prevailing book, right? You don't mean like every religious
Right.
text.
No,
Yeah.
you're not banking in Israel in the library and just hanging out. No. I'm not talking about that. Like there are guys that do that and those aren't the guys I'm talking about. And those are guys that are only reading like context to just two religions. They're not even reading books on the other ones. So
Right. No, I see what you mean. Yeah.
but I'm saying read their book. You know, that's what I'm kind of going to. Like read the book of the building.
Mhm.
Um, you know, so, and if you expose yourself to at least like that little piece of all of the knowledge, like it's pretty wild. The stories, the context of like faith.
Mhm. I find faith to be interesting because it's kind of I'm kind of with you, Thump, in that it kind of sucks. It's a good thing because
Right. I'm not
it
knocking because there is something to be said for faith that is grand and beautiful for a group of people to be able to
yes.
communally unite around something like that.
Uh-huh.
But then there's also human nature to abuse obedience.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, I am really into, like, when you observe animals in the zoo or whatever, if you happen to see animals in the wild,
I just watched two
like,
tigers in a video fuck each other up to one that was like, "All right, dude, I'm sorry."
yeah, like if you watch really smart animals, though, like octopuses,
Think of
for
tiger.
example, like, they're
Oh,
smart,
yeah.
you know,
Right now, they're
like,
arguably they're being considered probably the smartest species on the entire planet right now. Like,
like,
they are up for argument right now to be the smartest ever.
yeah, so like, nature seems to inherently allow certain species to evolve to the point where they're very intelligent and clever. You
Well,
know, like that's what we are. We're a very smart mammal,
right.
right?
Well,
But
our argument against being smarter than an octopus, though, is it can't build a computer, it can't go to space, and it's like, well, yeah, but it's smart enough that it knows it doesn't need to.
right.
There's something to be said
Right.
for
Well,
that type of intelligence. It's like
the
I don't.
instinct.
This is what I
And
need, and
that's kind of what I'm getting at though. Like they're smart, okay? But what is it that we have that they don't have? We have the ability to look up and say, "But why? What why am I here?
Right.
What's out there?"
We can question, others can't.
Yeah, we can question. Like it's
our free will, if
yeah.
according to some religious texts that we have been
Well,
had bestowed
every
upon us.
every
You know, and that I think
situation.
that's where spirituality and religion really comes from. It's from this
Well, that's the
desire,
spawning of it. Yeah.
you know, to know why am I here? What does my humanity mean? Right? And I think that's it's a beautiful thing that only we can do to my knowledge, right? that only we can do on this planet. And it's like perverted. It's used as a way to control people. It's used as a way
Well, that's why I
to
didn't like when the King
do
James version
evil
of the Bible.
things.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like the King James version of the
Yeah.
Bible being a rewrite because it was the introduction of divine right to rule.
fit the
And
narrative.
and then you look at like even with what the pharaohs did with community, like at one point they decided that they were going to bestow the power of godliness upon their leadership so that you couldn't question it.
Right. Yes.
You know, and that when they really seized power over their community was all right. So you know he was the son of a god, right? And I'm his son, so in turn I am also a god. He ascended, and I will as well. It's like, whoa, that's deep.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
deep, bro. How you gonna do that? But nobody asked that question. They just were like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of like a yeah, you're kind of imbuing yourself with that kind of divinity in
Mm.
order to control the desire to kind of access that. kind of access that part of us that we don't really understand.
Right.
And I think that's gross. I think that's disgusting. And I think it's something that it's kind of our original sin.
Oh, that's
No pun
bullshit.
intended.
Oh, yeah.
Original sin
As
is bullshit.
human beings.
Original sin is a bullshit idea, and anybody who believes that should be smacked in the head.
It's a metaphor.
How are you born with the sins of your parents? That's such bullshit.
Well,
Original sin's
Wait,
bullshit.
Yeah, but you're also pulling that from one context, like one.
yeah,
One direct line is going.
Oh,
This
okay,
is the way
okay,
that is.
okay.
Just so
Yeah, yeah,
remember,
okay.
this is.
Got you there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Order. Okay. Yeah. All right. I got you. I understand better now. Clearer.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a good site. It's definitely a good site because it is a problem. That is a one level of influence within a certain sect of society that they were like, this is the rule,
Right.
and you need to follow it. You're automatically condemned. And so that's the bait right there, where they're like, you're already guilty.
Yeah, you're not saved
It
just
was
because you
what was
haven't
put
done
there
anything.
to control. Yeah. And I would agree that something like that, yes, that's fucked up. But it was initially
Yeah.
put there to go ahead and put the foundation in, so that
Yeah.
you knew right from the get go. Your parents were going to already let you know that you are not without sin.
Right.
Sorry, we had you. There's your sin. Ta-da. It's like, oh, well,
Right.
there's no fucking escaping that shit.
Yeah, I guess not. Right.
Oh, that's I find that to be really interesting. There's you know what? What is that children's book with the bear? And there's an HBO show now.
What?
Say children's book and a bear, and I just think of that little pedo bear. So where are you going with that?
I'm sorry, I thought of Devil's Tower in Wyoming.
What is that show on
Okay.
HBO right now with Lin-Manuel Miranda and the little girl?
I don't know. I canceled HBO
Oh, why'd you do that?
because there was nothing better to watch after Boardwalk Empire.
Well, apparently
After
you are wrong.
Boardwalk Empire? Are you joking?
I pirate HBO Go, so it's okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I freaking loved Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, Boardwalk
That was my
yeah.
jam. Oh
Great show.
my god.
Great show. Definitely a great show. I do have some questions for you people,
What are the questions?
and I say you people lightly.
His Dark Materials. That is the show.
No, tomorrow marks 7 days. We're not on air tomorrow. We're on air Thursday. So 7 days of Biden administration. How do we feel about his executive orders so far? Are there any ones that you don't like? Just
I think the assault rifle stuff was a little wild. I don't have like major qualms with wanting to go in that direction to kind of quell some of the wild shit. But I still don't think gun control is being looked at logically. If we're going to look at gun control logically based on the First Amendment, then we need to acknowledge that if it is a means of national defense, that can also mean that it is a home defense, because the way it is written is if the government gains too much power, the people need to be able to respond to the government's power. And I think that is how constitutional law should be read and written. And if that's the argument, if you got it, I'm allowed to have it. Now, you can stop me from buying too many of them because,
Right.
I mean, your supply is indicative of the amount of people that you have. The government doesn't like to over-purchase by way too much because their spending budget in other areas needs to fit a certain range, and all stuff has a shelf life.
That's true.
My biggest complaint is killing the Keystone Pipeline, because on one hand you're saying I will do everything in my power to either, depending on what time he's talking on what day and what month of what year, he's either going to take care of the people who can't have jobs, the lower class, or he's going to take care of the middle class, and because the middle class drives America.
You heard that today? Yeah.
But yet you're killing the Keystone Pipeline, which employs hundreds,
11,000.
Uh,
11,000.
tens of thousands of
11,000
jobs.
number. I mean, you'll read
Tens of thousands of jobs that you're immediately right there because you don't want to have a gas pipeline running through the Keystone State. So you're going to wipe out those jobs.
Yeah.
And it's not like those people are equipped to go and work anyplace else. They know one thing, and that's how to weld and pump gas.
Yeah. The bad thing about that whole thing, and
I have a problem with that personally. It's like it's out of one side of your mouth you're saying I want to take care of the country and I want to bring unite and I want to unity and all of this, and out of the other side of your mouth you're like, well, it's my own political endeavors and this is what I'm going to do. That's where my and insert president here. It's not necessarily Biden. It's whoever would have done something as asinine as that.
The biggest problem with the whole pipeline thing is, okay, the jobs, obviously. It's 11,000 jobs hardcore. It's up to 52,000 jobs, depending on how you classify a job. If you want to say that a job is temporary until you've worked there for a year.
I'm sorry, a job is a job is a job. If you're getting a paycheck month over month for, I would say, 90 days, that's a job.
That's how a temp agency works too. You're no longer a temp if you work there for 90 days. But there are people out there who think it's 1 year. So however you want to slice it and dice it, whether you want to
company I work for, after 30 days I get what is it when you've been there for not tenure, but
you're
no longer on probation.
Right.
But no,
you're a vested employee.
No, that's not the words I'm looking for. But there's a seniority. You start to gain seniority after 30 days inside UPS, but you're not eligible for your insurance coverage until a year and a month.
Oh, year and a right. Okay, a year and a month.
So their company does look at that.
Is that and this is just
I don't have to join
off
the
wall
union
question
in order to do that. No.
It's not a union thing. Is it because you are theoretically a part-time worker versus if you were someone who worked 40 hours a week, would you be eligible sooner for the benefits?
No,
so it doesn't make a difference at all.
No, I could have switched positions and it wouldn't have changed anything.
I find that hard to believe they're not insuring their drivers after on hire. You're not getting health benefits unless you've been there a year and a day, a year and a month.
Year and a month.
I wonder if that's corporate wide or just.
I don't know if that rates up to their executives, but
I don't.
So really, you don't get benefits for a year
and a month.
There's a lot of places like that.
But
so what
from a higher date?
Do you fall under common law because of Q?
No.
Is there common law in
North Carolina?
No. No common law.
I don't.
Even if you're full time.
Alabama might be the only place that's common law. That's why
Pennsylvania used to be common law.
Yeah, that's long over though. They stopped that shit years ago.
But I'd have to do a little bit more research into trying to find out about the other portions of that. But to my understanding,
the pipeline's a bigger deal than it is because it involves Canada and their entire game plan of making sure that they were fuel dependent was to buy their
fuel
oil. Independent was to buy their oil from us. That's the whole purpose of the fucking pipeline to begin with. It's a pipeline from Canada to fucking Texas. So we can get you oil, pump that shit straight up there. Okay? That was a major factor in fucking Canadian legislation. Okay? So you fucked over an entire country that borders us, which, by the way, they're suing Biden personally, along with the state of Texas. 51,000 jobs in total that will be affected by the pipeline, whether it's here or Canada. I can't tell you.
The pipeline wasn't the only project, though, that he immediately pulled financing out of. That was the border wall, the pipeline, and one other project that that was one executive order that stopped those projects.
As far as the border wall, I don't know if that's such a big deal. Yeah, maybe we didn't finish it, but the border wall was not one continuous stretch of wall. First
Ever.
It
off,
was also stupid.
no,
It didn't
not
do
that
anything.
stupid at all.
We're taking politics out of this at this point.
Keeps fucking people out. And by the way, there's 17 other countries doing the exact same thing, building a wall around themselves.
There's no point.
most
The facts of immigration in the United States, not about politics. If you look at the data, starting a wall didn't change the number of people coming into the country. It didn't change the number of encounters that immigration police had, whatever they're called.
right.
And also, most of the immigration and the people that come in the United States come with temporary visas and overstay.
Right.
the
See,
time
do
that
you
they're
understand?
here.
But do you understand what the
don't-
purpose of the wall was? It
Was to keep-
wasn't to keep anybody out.
Okay, so what was the point of it again?
To corral them into destinations where they could come into the country legally.
Right, legally. Not the 11 million.
Okay, so
Yeah,
again, the
and
number of
you know,
people that were
order.
coming into the United States did not change.
No,
Right,
And
but
the
they
number
were
of
coming in.
people-
But they were coming in.
And the number of people that come into the United States and stay illegally is not changed by a wall. It was a waste of money
The
and time.
the visa is what created the larger portion of our illegal immigrants. The visa violations.
Yes. Yes.
So people are coming in legally.
Well, to a certain degree. I mean,
Exactly. So a wall doesn't change that.
no one's coming here legally. You could see the numbers of people who had their immigration status changed from immigrant to citizen is fucking nowhere near the amount of people who are here day after day, month after month, illegally.
Right.
I mean, it's 11 million people in the country right now. And oh, wait, as soon as Biden was elected, there was 11 million more standing at the fucking border trying to get in.
Well, why not, right?
So, yeah, it has changed. It's obviously changed. And especially after Obama and him caging fucking people. Caging, that was Obama, not Trump. It was Obama. So let's make that perfectly clear. The amount of fucking people trying to get into this country then grew exponentially, especially with the poor situation of Mexico when their fucking economy went to shit.
So
There
the
are
number of
people-
people that were waiting to get into the country was actually not changed because people were already there. They were trying to come into the country and they were trying to come in as refugees.
Right.
And the Trump administration didn't have a system in place to
Right.
handle them. So that's why they were there. So the number of people didn't change. The number of people being processed while trying to come into the country.
Well, yeah,
changed.
that's always going to change. Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, the number of people who are getting their citizenship are going to change because there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. I'm totally against fucking letting 11 million people become fucking citizens tomorrow. Go fuck yourself.
What about the
A 10-year process. Learn it.
what about the circuit court that shot down Biden's
Oh, the
100 days of
Oh, yeah, we're just going to let everybody in for the next 100 days? No way. Texas said, fuck you. Federal judge, fuck you. You can't do that.
Well, wait, no, that was the 100 stay on deportations thing that he wanted to do.
Right. Don't
Yeah.
deport anybody. No, get them the fuck out. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. And I am not an immigrant. My family, just like Ren's family and your family and Thump's family, yeah, we're all immigrants. Came from somewhere to get to the United States. Makes you
We
an
sure
immigrant.
did.
Makes you an immigrant. I get it. Those days are long over. That's what the fuck Ellis Island was all about to begin with. That's what it is still represents to this day. Want to come in the country, go through the legal process. Not a problem. You want to come and hang out and party? Great.
It was way harsher back then too.
Yeah.
There were people who got sent back because they had pink eye.
That's right. Yeah. It's fucked up. But
I mean, I don't know how long the wait is, but I know that my mom, when she came, she waited for her visa literally 10 years.
yeah, it's a 10-year process. It can be a
Yeah.
10-year process. It's most likely an 8 to 10-year process, period. To become a citizen. You can become a citizen of this country before you even get your paperwork because all you got to do is live here 5 years. 5 years.
Right. Yes.
And then you become a citizen, but not a legal citizen. But then you can go through the legalities of it. So, I mean, the whole entire process is fucked up. It has been fucked up since the 60s. Before that, there was a pretty decent system in place to let people come to this country legally. I don't know where it got fucked up or how it got out of hand, but it's definitely fucked up. But I'm sorry, fix the system. And if you want to be here legally, go through the system. Otherwise, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I believe
Well,
you should follow. I believe you should just follow the rules of that. Like if the system is what it is, you got to do what you got to do in order to stay in following the rules of the system. I just believe that should be the natural way that you have to do things. Like
I believe that's true too. I also my point was that the wall itself was not a way to address that.
oh, it
situation.
wasn't an influencer in the amount.
It wasn't meant to be. It was just meant to be a corollary. You want to come into the country, go through the proper channels.
Yes.
Just don't jump across a river and run into the country.
Which was
and-
happening pretty rampant
declare
during
yourself
certain time
free.
periods. That
Well, and
the
look-
wall was
but
started
that
in
I
various
think
But
areas.
it
even,
also
even
hold
to
on, hold
solve
on.
that problem,
Hold on.
that's
Hold
a
on.
poor solution.
But when you have a border across our south, whether it's from Texas to California, the amount of bodies you would have to pay in order to man that border just on our side,
Mm-hmm.
it's more cost efficient to build an object to corral the people to come to where the manpower is.
It also counts on
You
these
know,
people's
so
it-
you're
it also
saving,
counts on the
Often
reputation.
but you're
equal.
saving money.
It also
You're
counts on the
actually not
reputations.
saving
No,
any money.
it's an inflection on the representations of the leadership of the countries that are there. We don't have.
I'd be
a
very
border wall. We
curious.
don't have a
I'd
border
be
wall
very-
at Canada. We don't have a border wall at Canada. You know
No.
why we don't have a border wall at Canada? Because
'Cause we
there's
don't need one.
trust. Well, there's
Right.
trust. They trust that we're not coming up there to harass them. We trust they're not coming down to harass us. Our citizens go to border checkpoints because they know where they're at. And in some rural areas, they just pass over the border willy-nilly because they can. But, like, there's no citizenship argument there where the influx was different around that southern border, that it got the poorer countries of Mexico down into South America had a larger influx of people that were trying to circumvent the system in order to get was a truth. Like,
Who
we
says
have
it's all
to
about-
acknowledge.
Oh, absolutely.
So
And
I'm
that's
also a
what
firm
started
believer-
the projects to begin with. And no, maybe over the long run they haven't been any kind of real solution. But at the same time, people didn't know what to do.
Do you
Right.
want to know
But I'm
something?
also hold on, Webb. Let me
And
say
it's
this.
just
I'm
like the
also a
coronavirus.
firm believer. I'm also a firm believer that if the tides were turned and the last 4 years were Democrat and the current 4 years were Republican, Jay over here would be going, "That was the greatest idea in the world because you are such a staunch Democrat that anything a Democrat can do is no wrong. You do not have an open mind. You are completely whitewashed by an entire political party."
Well,
No.
that's insulting. Whitewash.
Well, that's
you
great,
know.
but that's
Oh, you shouldn't have said
Well,
whitewash.
that's
You should have said
actually
non-colored
false.
nomination.
Okay. So I'm saying that the idea that you're proposing doesn't make any economic or practical sense, and you're making it about my political alignment. First of all, you really
'Cause
don't know
Trump
what my
did it.
political alignment is. Okay,
yes,
you
I
really
do. You're a
don't know.
Democrat.
No, I'm not.
You have done nothing but shoot down Trump and defend every Democrat for the past.
No, I
You have.
haven't. And Trump deserves to be examined. He's been impeached twice. I
And
mean, come on.
both times
Like,
and both times thrown out.
well, not the second time. The second time.
Already
Yeah,
done.
it's
already
it's
over.
pretty much being
Already
thrown out.
over.
It's
Well,
already-
they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, they haven't
it
done
looks
it
like
yet,
it's gonna be that way,
yeah.
but yeah, you're right.
They can
It
call
looks like
for a
it might
recount
go in that
tomorrow
direction.
and next day and the next day, because that's what Pelosi's going to do. She's home crying in her bourbon right now, going, "How do I call for a recount tomorrow?" That
I
shit-
don't know. It looks like it's gonna go in that direction. But my point is to say that I don't like Trump and that automatically makes me a Democrat is to say, I
I'm
don't
just
like
speaking.
onion,
You got to remember,
and
I'm the guy who
therefore
sits
I don't
here,
like vegetables.
but I'm the guy who sits here and says very little most shows, and 9 times out of 10, you're defending the Democratic point of view and the Democratic stance.
Yes.
So
Well,
my
directly
takeaway
under
from
some
this,
directly
hold on,
directly
hold on, let
vouching
me
for some
finish
of their
my
leadership
statement.
as well. So
let me finish my statement. You not only do you vouch for the leadership, you take a very strong hold on the Democratic point of view. So I have every
I
right
agree with that.
to sit here and say what I'm looking at, just like I look at Webb. And I'm going to say right now something similar that I said to you, Jay. I'm going to say to Webb. Webb, what you do on Facebook is no different than what all the Democrats did
Yes.
when Trump became president.
Yes.
And I know what you're doing because I've known you for 20 years. Nobody else does.
No.
he
And
leans
they look at
so
you
far
right now as the crybaby, far right, conservative
he-
Republican
Even
that
though,
Right, and
but
this
yeah.
is
you're
this is the
crying
perception.
in your fucking Wheaties.
This is the perception.
this
I
is
agree
exactly
that we've
what
gotten
you're
from
doing.
the past year of just me and him sitting here, and the conversations that have taken place. It is the right.
You
and the
are that
left,
guy.
and
You are that guy.
yeah,
As
He's
much
that
as
guy,
you
and you
don't
have been
want to admit,
pretty, you have
you
been
may
pretty
not
to
be
the
that guy
opposition.
at home.
My
You
belief.
may not be that guy at home. You may not be that guy with like me when you and I are one-on-one.
Sure.
But what you're putting out there to
Yep.
the universe is
You're
a
that guy.
complete. You are everything that you and I sat there brewing beer on your driveway going, well, it's your president. Just accept it as your president.
Oh, Biden's
And
my
what did you do? You changed your profile to go, well, not my, you know what I mean.
Right. You know the thing. That's a joke. Yeah, and that go. By the
But
way,
nobody's
it's-
seeing
it's
that as a
not a-
joke
it's
with
not a
everything that
joke.
you post.
don't
I
care.
think, you know what? I actually kind of agree with that. Like, I know that you're trolling, kind of,
Big time.
but it's not always clear.
Very
Like,
tough.
I've had people who know that I know you
Right.
be like, "Is he fucking serious?" And I'm just like, "No,
No. And I know you guys.
no."
I know you guys know it, and I know you understand it. There are times where I'll put things out there, and I thoroughly believe them, and then there are other times where I'm just out there to stir the pot. Maybe it fucking makes somebody think about something. Maybe. I doubt it.
I'm
Doubt
gonna use one of our football adages that we love to use when we talk about fantasy football and we're talking about players and why we should play them or not play them. I'm gonna use the words body of work.
Sure.
And when everybody goes and looks at your body of work,
It's gonna be piss
they're
poor.
looking at you as a MAGA-ite,
Yep.
a QAnon, whatever you want to
Get your point.
silo that side of whether you're stirring the pot or you're not. When
Mhm.
people go and go, oh, Web Boy wants to be my friend, let me go, oh, fuck no, I don't want no part
Yeah,
of this
his
cat.
social media could damage my social media.
Yeah, right.
And not
All
for
right, so-
anything,
and
not for
now-
anything,
now
not
nothing
for
for
anything
nothing,
to
Webb.
come out the other side of that though. Like he is that over this past year and change, Jay, you have been his fiercest opposition. So you've kind of painted yourself into the corner of being exactly what Ren said, the left. Because
Well,
Webb has
okay,
clearly
I
been the
think-
right, and you have clearly been the opposition.
Okay, but the problem I have with that
to the
is
point
that
to the point that you will sit there and not only drop knowledge but definitely drop knowledge that one would only have if they did their homework
Yep.
on the other
On the
part.
other side. Like you
The other
found
side.
yourself ingrained into the opposition because he would spew nonsense and you like having your counterpoints to be able to go, hold up, dude, I don't believe you're saying this correctly or those words are true and calling him on his
where
bullshit.
you said Trump and I'm gonna like cut you down
Yeah, I'm
now.
gonna cut you down and call you on your bullshit. And that
well,
was
yeah, the issue that I
But-
have is
but look
the
at what it's
ridiculous
done to you.
nonsense. Is it that I'm a Democrat or is it that I hate untruths?
I don't know. I've had a lot of comments saying,
No,
"What the
I
fuck is
think-
that girl
I
talking
think-
about? She's an idiot and has no clue what she's talking about and doesn't understand how it works." I mean, we
Well,
both,
the way it works
we-
is dumb.
we
Like,
both have
explain
our-
it to me.
right, we both have our side. Everybody's got
Yeah.
their side of the issue. I get that, and I don't fucking fault anybody for their opinions. I personally think that the last year of conversations that the four of us have had, even from opposite standpoints, has been very engaging conversation. and has
I will
made
always
other
toe the
people.
line.
I think
And I
has
think Trump will always toe the line too.
other yeah, but I think it's made other people think. I mean, I know that from the DMs I get. I know that for a fact that things we have said on this show has caused people to think.
Oh, it's good, and I mean, in
Yeah.
the end of it, I guess that's kind of what we hope is
That's
that
what we
people
want.
are willing to take a look at the situation and maybe not listen to us,
Yeah.
but just try and find out for themselves. Like,
I
and
want
that's one thing we always encourage anyway.
I wanted to make a
Gotta
few
put
more
another
points
thumbs
here
better.
before Thump does his finger thing, wave at me, and says we got to
Oh,
go. 'cause
well,
it's not
you
30.
can make your points.
Okay. As far as this whole crossing the border and immigration and all that shit, the Democrats wanted it desperately because it bodes in their favor. It bodes
In
in
what way?
in what way? That if you all of a sudden have 11,000 or 11 million more people in New Mexico gets more fucking money. And the money's not going to be allocated to where it needs to be. We all know that. It's end of story. Same thing in California.
Well, all right, wait a minute.
Same-
So 11,000 people, are they legal citizens?
Yeah. The idea here is to take the 11 million undocumented and make them documented and citizens. Because
And well, okay, so the last election would
go.
say that's not true because large amounts of Latinx people voted for Trump.
Who said anything about voting for Trump? I'm talking about money coming into the states. I don't give a fuck about the vote.
Oh, you don't
it's all
mean
about federal spending.
Federal aid.
people?
Yeah.
Federal
So
aid.
This is the same reason why Trump didn't want these people counted on
the
a census.
population, wait a minute. So the population though doesn't it get updated every 10 years with a census?
Every 4 years on a census.
Every 4 years? Wait,
That's-
no, we only have a census
No.
every 10 years.
We have a census
Or-
every 10
Yeah. Hey, Ran, how many censuses have you had in the last 10 years?
Last census before this year was 2010.
Yeah, every 10 years. So if we
Every
get
10 years, there's a
I
census.
wasn't living here. I talked to the No, that's not true because there was census taken here twice in the last 8 years and last 7 years because I've only lived in this house 7 years. And the motherfucker came to my door and knew who I was and had my cell phone number. And
okay,
I have
well, I think it's supposed to, please somebody
Supposed to
correct
be
me.
every
on
10,
this.
but yeah.
Is it 10 years? Okay, it's 10 years. So you're saying the Democrats are betting that if they allow an extra 11 million people into the country, that they're going to get more funding for certain states?
Sure, absolutely. If New Mexico's fucking population goes up by $10 million,
Yeah.
they get more funding.
Targeted immigration. It is a definite thing. I mean, not for anything.
Mhm.
In order for certain states to fix homeless populations, they have paid to relocate homeless populations to other states.
Well, Biden's doing that right now. He wants to put them all in 5-star hotels in California, get them off
like
the street.
there is targeted immigration both within the United States borders and allowing people into the country. Like it is for reasons, most being financial and political.
The 3 executive orders, and I'll close on this, that Biden has signed, which are complete fucking horseshit, and someone needs to look at, is this whole idea of transgenders being able to compete with girls. You just
Hold on.
The
He actually had- he
mandated
actually signed an
legal.
order on that.
Yes, he created a glass ceiling that girls have to hurdle now. The chances of your kid, your fucking star softball player, soccer player, whatever the fuck sport your girl plays.
Wait a minute.
Stop.
Wait a minute. That's not what the order says.
Oh, really? A glass ceiling has been created for hurdles, ruining the many chances of scholarships with his progressive transgender programs allowing boys to compete in girls' sports.
Well, I think
But, well,
I really have to go
I-
and read it. Okay, because
Okay, you go read
I'll admit I haven't read it.
Okay,
But I
so
thought that
comment,
the
yeah.
order was
Hmm?
that transgender athletes weren't going to be barred from sports, period. I actually happen to think that you shouldn't necessarily be playing in a whatever women's
You
sport
have,
if you're transgender
I'm going to say this right now.
man. Or I'm
Well,
saying it completely incorrectly.
I don't give a fuck how many people unfollow us, and I don't give a fuck how many people try and like burn my house down. If you have tits and a dick, you should play on the men's team. End of story. Don't care. His idea.
Or if any point ever had a penis.
Exactly. I mean, that's a competitive advantage. End of story. We have already seen that in the
Is that your position?
That is my position.
I mean, I
All
wouldn't
right,
phrase it that
just to button
way,
this up so we can close up here.
but
The
One more.
U.S. Census,
No.
the United
Y'all
States
have a
Census.
good one. I'm gonna let Q turn y'all.
All right, we'll go.
okay.
2 minutes.
The
Bye.
United States Census is a census that is legally mandated by the U.S. Constitution, takes place every 10 years.
every 10
With
years.
that said, this has been the 8-Bit Bros. We will see you Thursday. Have a good night.
Oh, I'm so not ready for that. My laptop shut down. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't have a soundboard.
What?
Well,
Hold
get
on.
your shit together.
Yeah, well, hey, it's shut off. So, yeah, 8-Bit Bros, Tuesday, we out.